Hello and welcome to this season's final episode of In the 305 with Chairman Gilbert. If you've been watching our show, you know that this is where we discuss the most important topics impacting our community. Tonight, we want to take you back and show you some of the best moments from this season. I'm your host, Oliver G. Gilbert III, Chairman of the Miami-Dade County Board of County Commissioners and the County Commissioner for District 1. This season, we talked about problems we need to solve, highlighted solutions, and celebrated the victories Miami-Dade has already accomplished. Most importantly, we went out on the streets and heard what you have to say about the topics near and dear to your heart. One of the major ones, of course, rapid mass transit in South Florida.
I've used public transportation my whole entire life, from middle school, high school. It's great.
I really like the time it saves me. I like the fact that I'm able to read books in my downtimes. I don't have to focus on driving. I can do other things.
I take it every day. It helps me bypass a lot of traffic on the way home from med school, especially. So yeah, it's convenient.
It's all about getting people to where they need to go faster and more reliably, and that includes job centers. 40 years ago, when the bus routes were configured, it was a very different Miami-Dade County. The job centers were different, the schools were different. So 40 years later, we needed to do a major adjustment. And you know, change is hard. People don't like change, and we're working hard to make sure people can find their way in the new system, and we've added additional supplements, and we will be continuing to refine those routes. But it was dramatic, the percentage increase in people being able to get to their workplace within a reasonable commute time with this new configuration. So really, it's all about driving the economy.
There's an interesting statistic. With 240,000 or 250,000 people boarding our transit system every day, we have more people who board our transit system than 43 counties in Florida have residents.
That's good.
So, within 43 counties in Florida have residents. That's how significant an undertaking it is. And so when people want to know why it's so difficult, well, it's really, I mean, you're experiencing it in a micro way, in a very small way, because it's just your bus, but it's not just your bus, it's a bus system. It's a bus system that feeds into a metro rail. It's a metro rail that leads to a metro mover. It's a metro mover that that has to work with circulars in different cities. So these things are actually a little more complex than people might actually acknowledge.
I use public transportation for getting around in the city on my days off. I find it a great way when my friends come into town too from other countries and stuff, that they can come from the airport and that I can meet them here, and then we could go hang out at the beach and stuff like that.
I had to go a step further and find out what the Miami-Dade residents think there is a need to expand rapid mass transit. So I placed an unofficial question on the ballot of the primary election held August 20th, and the results were not surprising. Voters overwhelmingly agreed to move the conversation forward. Expect to see more on the subject in the future. Well, how could we talk about important issues in Miami-Dade County without discussing something that many of us are concerned about, the cost and availability of housing?
Well, it's extremely tight, competitive. The market has gotten extremely hot, as you can imagine, from a cost perspective. And I just think that there's a little bit of give and take that needs to be made between the government, local government, and the property owners, to be honest with you, here in Miami.
You know, we know a lot of people are migrating to Florida, Miami, South Florida. And it's kind of like they're occupying a lot of the spaces that locals used to, and it's causing like an increase, like a skyrocket of like rent prices. So yeah, if there's a plan in place where we can make housing more affordable, that would be awesome. Several factors are really impacting affordability and housing right now. One of the critical pieces is supply. You know, 2/3 of the county is the Everglades National Park. And so what happens is we don't have enough land to be able to build the housing we need. And so what we need to do is look at urbanism and really embrace urbanism in order to create the housing stock that we do need.
Let's talk about some stats of really what's going on the market. The average price point right now in Miami-Dade County in 2024 is 1.2 million. In 2023, it was 900,000. We're seeing the property values continuing to increase steadily over the years. We're hitting a 1% increase year after year on the market. The luxury market accounts for a great majority of these purchases because a lot of these buyers are coming out of international buyers. In the state of Florida right now, there are 23% of international buyers that flood the US market. Florida represents 11% of those 23%.
Wow.
So a lot of these buyers are coming in Florida for everything that we have: attractive tax, great weather, business incentives as well to open your business.
And we're really cool.
And
I hear they got some pretty good commissioners
and,
there
I think
too.
the people here are pretty cool too.
No. Tell us what urbanism is.
Historically, city of Miami, Miami-Dade County has grown in a certain way. They've typically grown out to the suburbs, out west. And what we need to do is we need to be developing our neighborhoods that are historical neighborhoods, but doing it in a very culturally sensitive way. And so what we need to do is go up. We need to bring density close to transit. We need to bring density closer to the schools. We need to bring density closer to the jobs, so that affordability is not only about housing, but it's also other components like, transit and being able to get to work and go pick up your kids at school in a cost-effective manner. And really, when people are looking at their budgets right now, they're saying, all right, not only am I putting a lot of my income toward housing, but it's also going into, gas, it's going into housing, transportation costs. So for us, urbanism has to do a lot with, making neighborhoods thrive.
We didn't only talk about the improvements we'd like to see in our community, we highlighted some of the opportunities our residents have at their disposal. Opportunities such as programs and services offered by the Minority Business Development Agency.
The Minority Business Development Agency is the only growth and global competitiveness of minority businesses here in America. We have a mandate that allows for us to not give anything to anybody, but allow folks to realize their dreams, their hopes, to create wealth for themselves and their communities. MBDA is an agency that has a network now in our authorized state over the past 3 years, going from 70 to 131 business centers and operators across the country and territories. We are helping folks connect to opportunities. We are also, through our expanded mandate and a charge set forth by the President of the United States, most recently able to help through Capital Readiness Program. The Capital Readiness Program is a $10 billion capital access program that allows for 43 of our newest entrants into MBDA to provide capital access, that's cash for small businesses seeking to scale, grow, helping them access that $10 billion fund and other streams of capital. Because we know as an agency, we know as an administration that capital access is a binding constraint that prevents minority businesses and most businesses writ large from scaling at the pace that they wish to scale.
I think it's a wonderful thing. Because unfortunately, in this country, it has always been focused on big corporations, and even though we are the American dream, and it's called that you bust your butt and you come out ahead, you need a little help sometimes from the government.
At a time like this, a lot of businesses are closing down. You can watch the news every day. You got businesses like the Red Lobsters or the Chili's. Those are top chains. They've been here over 20, 30 years, and they closed it down. So just think what happened to the lower class businesses like myself, who we small, we could close in a minute.
I think it's God's son, really, because I can use it, I need it. I need to help, I need this information and these resources to help my business grow and also to help me grow as a person and also to be able to provide fresh options to our communities because we need it. We needed to stay healthy, we needed to stay strong. So I think this is amazing.
We want to help them grow and succeed to create wealth. And this is an American charge, a charge that's set forth to me directly from the president, the vice president. She was the one who the vice president rolled out our capital readiness program. I was on Air Force 2 with her two months ago talking about this. Our mandate is extremely clear, and it is profound. We have to close an $8.3 trillion opportunity gap. That's our job.
And 8.3 trillion.
T with a T.
With a T.
With a T. With a tree. With a T.
Opportunity gap.
Opportunity gap. And that is GDP growth for our country. My job is to help grow the United States economy.
From growing South Florida businesses to the stunning growth of tech, ushering in a whole new era of innovation in Miami-Dade County.
The first idea was, well, there isn't any convening bringing together entrepreneurs, investors, government, education, and tech corporations together, nowhere near Miami. And so we had never been in that business before. This truly was a startup from the beginning, and it took us 2 years to plan and open our doors to the first Emerge Americas in May of 2014. People thought we were crazy, it would never work in Miami, and it's been exciting to see how these last 10 years not only Emerge our organization, but our entire community has really evolved.
It's a very flourishing city, a very popular, vibrant city. I mean, it's a beautiful place to be, and you can tell, I mean, there's a lot of money being invested here. There's no doubt about that. I can't tell what portion that comes from tech and other industries, but certainly I can see a case for that because it's a great place to live, I think, and to work.
Come to Miami. It's the best city in the world. It's a growing population. It's a growing economy. There's a lot of great things coming in the future.
We have to be taking our academic institutions, we need to be pumping out and commercializing more technology. I say this lovingly for all the tech bros in Wynwood, right? But at the end of the day, it's not about hipsters at coffee shops in Wynwood. It's about PhDs doing bench science at our academic institutions, and then we can commercialize this technology and take it to market. That's how you build multi-billion-dollar companies. We also need to make sure all these companies that are coming here, they know that we've got world-class talent. We will not win and thrive if we simply import all the talent. That means all this great talent that we're producing in our institutions will have a reverse flow of the talent. And at the end of the day, we need to make sure that quality of life, which is sacred, it doesn't matter whether you're in Miami Gardens, you're in Homestead, you're in Westchester or Kendall, that everyone is able to participate in that livability, that quality of life that made this place. I'm an immigrant. You talked about that idea of 50%. I was born in Guyana. I came here when I was 2 years old. If you cut me, I bleed guarapo and cafecito and all those things. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to that opportunity economy of Miami. We need to preserve that, and we can't be pricing people out of that opportunity.
We welcome conversations about the biggest events coming to our neck of the woods. The biggest one of them all, the 2026 World Cup.
I watch sports, but that's the only one sport that I tend to get up in the middle of the night and watch. So World Cup, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I don't think there's anything better for us than an exciting international sporting event with all eyes of the world on Miami. And the World Cup there's nothing bigger than that.
I'm already waiting to buy the tickets.
So you went from running the cruise line to bringing one of the biggest sporting events in the history of South Florida here to South Florida, one of the biggest events in the world. Now, I know why I think Miami-Dade County is the perfect place to host the FIFA 2026 World Cup. Why do you think it is?
Well, it's the reason that I'm here today talking to you, because as I was leaving this crazy position that I was in and thinking about what I was going to do next, this did not ever enter my mind. But it's historic. Never been done before. 7 matches. Miami is like the epicenter of football, soccer. We have Messi, we have Beckham, we have a diverse community, and football brings us all together. And that was just so exciting for me that I couldn't say no to this incredible opportunity to be part of this.
So when you say football, just so everybody clear, that's soccer for us people. Yes, that's football. Yes. What goes into hosting major events here at the stadium? It's not just football, it's not just soccer, it's not just Formula One, it's not just tennis, it's not just concert, it's everything. What goes into that?
Well, it starts with a commitment from our owner, from Steve Ross, and who's now put really over $1 billion of private investment into the stadium to make it world class. It starts with community partners and leaders to help us get those deals done, to bring in those big events. And wanting this to be a global entertainment destination, wanting to bring the world and the world's biggest talent to Miami Gardens. I don't think there's anywhere in the world that can say they've had, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen and Serena and Roger Federer and Messi and Neymar and Jay-Z and Beyonce and Taylor Swift and you know, the NFL, Super Bowls, national championship games, now the World Cup coming, et cetera. So it starts with that commitment, and then it takes just a great team of people that we have here, led by Todd Boyan, who runs the stadium for us, and it's an amazing team of people that are able to transform this place, you know, week to week, month to month, into all these different variations of itself.
Are there any teasers? Is there something you can say, hey, you know what? You can expect to see this. Are we going to have any stars, concerts? Is there something you can tell our viewers about what's going to be happening with the FIFA World Cup?
I can't.
You can't. It's just between us. It's just between us. We won't tell
Invite
anyone.
Me back.
It's just
Invite
us.
me back. What I will tell you is, ever since I became a part of this unbelievable event, the people that are interested in being a part of it is incredible. It's a who's who list. And because they want to be part of history, they care deeply about this community, whether it's local celebrities that we know, or corporations that are here, or corporations who want to be here because the Miami community is so important to them. And so every day I just get more and more excited about this, even though it's a big challenge and a big logistical event to put together. It's really exciting, and so many people feel the same way.
We look towards the future while also commemorating our past, and we did that in Washington, D.C., along with 48 excited teenagers who go to school right here in Miami-Dade County. So what was the most memorable place that you visited in D.C.? The place that, I mean, we went to different places. We went to, you know, the MLK Memorial and the African American Museum and Congress and the Library of Congress. What was the most memorable place to you personally?
It definitely had to be the National African American Museum. Just been genuinely shocked and amazed at how much African American history just all in one place. I especially love the way that the museum is designed, because it's like a constant history book. It's like I'm just turning the pages to see like things like Harriet Tubman's rifle or her dress, or see Rosa Parks' dress and her books and stuff like that. Like, it was insane to me. Even when we were going through, especially the Middle Passage area, where you could see how many slaves were transported along the transcontinental area, like across the seas and stuff like that. It was insane to me how many I'd never known, like 5.8 billion is insane to me from just Portugal alone. Like, just to see all of that made me tear up.
I know one of the things that we want to emphasize with the students is that Washington, D.C. is the birthplace of democracy.
Correct.
And so we want to talk to them about voting and how and I asked some of the students, I'm going to ask some of the students, hey, you know, do you plan on voting when you can? I'm interested in seeing their answers. What did you think about encountering the birthplace of our democracy? I know you've been in D.C. before, but do you vote? Do you plan on voting?
Of course, I plan on voting.
Yeah.
You know, when we got to that specific era of women being able to vote, there was a question. We weren't able to vote?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's pay attention.
Yeah.
We weren't.
Of course, I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote every election, whether it's a local, state, or national. I'm always going to vote, because there was a time where someone like me could not vote, and with the way they approached the situation, they kept on fighting. They kept on being resilient, because they recognized how important it is to vote, how important it is for us to vote those people in who are going to make decisions on our behalf, who are going to decide what our housing looks like, what our infrastructure looks like, what our policies are, whether they're local, state, or federal. So yes, I will vote.
Finally, what's South Florida without a little bit of a delicious Caribbean flavor? We talked, cooked, and ate with an extraordinary chef from the Bahamas who came just to visit us. We ended the season vibing with an internationally renowned DJ who has Haitian roots. So I have this delicious Bahamian cuisine in front of me. It tastes great. How important is it to deliver authentic Bahamian cuisine to your patrons?
Well, you know, for me, it's about storytelling.
So I use food to tell my story and the story of my Bahamas. What does that mean? It means that it's more than sun, sand, and sea. It's about food culture. It's about connecting at the table. It's about bringing families together. It's about fellowship. And I think food is the perfect catalyst to make that happen.
Now, there are lots of different Caribbean cultures in South Florida. You know, how important is it for us to maintain the tradition of our culinary traditions?
Well, you know, I recently was having this conversation, and for me, food is culture. Food is how we express ourselves. And in the Caribbean, everything is centered around food. And so you could talk about music, you could talk about art, but let's be honest, you can go a whole day without looking at your particular country's art or not listening to that music, but you gotta eat. And so once you eat, you are telling yourself a story and you're telling others a story.
Just the flavors, and it definitely needs to be preserved because it's my history, it's my parents' history, so it's something I definitely think should never leave and should always be embraced, celebrated, and you know, cultivated, and not only just Caribbean history, but American history, because it's part of American history now too.
It's our identity. It's what we are. We come here to this country, to the state of Florida, to work and to be together.
It's actually supposed to be one of the signatures of South Florida, and particularly Miami. We have different people, different cultures, and you cannot complete that list without Caribbean food.
Actually, it should be preserved everywhere.
Jay Perry, world-renowned musician. Everyone knows you. You're famous. How did you get started in music?
Well, at 6 years old, my mom put me in piano lessons to calm me down. And it seems like it didn't work. It wasn't just a hobby, because the teachers were like, hey, he's actually talented. It's not just an extracurricular activity for him. So they kept me in the piano lessons, and here I am today.
We brought in the big guns to close the season.
Well,
we brought you in for this.
I have the answer.
But you gotta answer this question right.
I have the answer.
Okay. In the last couple of months, there's been a well-documented battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
Yes.
Who won, Drake or Kendrick Lamar?
Kendrick won.
Oh! Jay Perry with the win! Jay Perry, they not like us, baby. Listen, this is the end of our season. Jay, I don't know what you're performing, but take us away.
Let's go. Special song, Décollé from Haiti, Port-au-Prince. Let's go!
It's been an amazing season. I want to thank everyone from Island TV. Listen, you see me on camera, but it's not me. There are literally dozens of people who make this show happen. We had this idea. We wanted to actually talk about ideas that were important to the people of Miami-Dade County, with the idea that if we talked and we listened, that we come up with solutions that can move us forward. If you missed any of these episodes, you can find all of them on islandtv.tv. As you may already know, we're gearing up for season 2. So you know what to do. Hey, listen, if you have any questions for me about any topic concerning our residents, don't hesitate to ask. Simply record a video of yourself asking the question and email it to ogvideosub@miamidade.gov. Have a good night, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.